Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done, inside and out, at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is pro linebacker TJ Watt.
And I'm former pro soccer player Danny Watt.
We're excited to be partnering again with YPB by Abercrombie for a summer on the move.
And when it comes to activewear, I consider myself the true professional. I'm obsessed with the YPB matching sets and dresses. The Studio Flex fabric is buttery soft and always comfortable, whether I'm in workout mode or mom mode.
This summer, shop YPB by Abercrombie
in the app, online, and in stores.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.
Hello, everyone. We're back this week with an episode with Hamish Purdy, the set decorator on seasons 1 and 2 of Percy Jackson, to kick off a series of interviews that we're organizing with some of the artists behind this show. We've got some very exciting ones coming up. You won't want to miss it. But for this episode specifically, a very short spoiler warning. Obviously, there are spoilers for seasons 1 and 2 of the TV show. And at the very end, a very brief journey into Book 4 spoilers. So if you have not read through Book 4, I would recommend skipping ahead a few minutes when we come back to the topic of the coffin. All right, that's all from me. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Monster Donut, a literary and historical deep dive on the Percy Jackson series and all of its following spin-offs. I'm Emily, a classic scholar-ish.
And I'm Phoebe, a dramaturg and story consultant. And today we are joined by someone you've heard us compliment many, many times throughout this show. It is the visionary set decorator behind seasons 1 and 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Hamish Purdy. Hi, Hamish. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm great. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have spent so much time zooming in on every little detail of seasons 1 and 2.
Literally every episode of this podcast contains like a 10-minute portion where we're just like pausing and picking through some detail or character work that you are packing into these scenes.
I hope I didn't mess up.
Oh,
no, it's all incredible. It's all, the reason we're doing it is because we love it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And there's always something fun to find, like a little Easter egg that teaches us a little bit more about what's going on with the characters or the world.
Yeah, it's the only chance I get because I don't get to say any lines or, play any music. So
right, we can hear you loud and clear, though.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, because it's real world and monster world, it's you get to really play around. So it's super fun.
Yeah, we will be talking a lot more about that specifically in a little bit. But I think first, just for our listeners who maybe are not as familiar with what exactly it is you do, also, you know, just so they know when they're watching, like, what's you versus maybe a prop designer or a set designer, etc. Yep. Would you just mind quickly describing your role in the process for Percy?
I've done this a lot. Okay, so the look of a TV show or a movie is well, I guess it's started by the showrunner, but basically it's the production designer. And in seasons 1 and 2, that was Dan Hanna. He's in charge of the whole look of a show. So that's paint finishes and it's locations and of course all the builds and stuff like that. And the production designer hires a set decorator to deal with all the things that go into a space. So like a classic example is if we were to build a police station on set, the production designer in the art department would create drawings for the construction department to build the walls and the windows, and if there's a staircase or a landing, and also choose the wall colors, if there's going to be a stone finish or a painted finish or maybe a repair in the wall. They would do all that sort of stuff. But then the decorator, me and my department, we would put everything in. So that's all the furniture, all the lighting, all the art, or in the case of a police station, bulletin boards with paper on them and stuff like that. And then props, because some people say props set deck. So props is anything an actor handles. So that really separates things, although we do have gray areas. So if I have, say, a train station with a pile of luggage, that will be my luggage, but then some of the luggage will be carried by extras walking around, maybe putting it on the pile or something like that. So we'll work together on, in the case of, I'm thinking of season 2, the chariot race, I had all those kiosks and things around, decorated around the outside of the track, but the props department definitely needed to be involved because all the kids were carrying flags and grabbing food, and so we talked quite a bit about what's going to happen. But yeah, set decoration is basically all the stuff that goes into a space, and then obviously Percy's bedroom, I even chose the wallpaper, and then they put the window in, and this is where the door is, and this is how big his room is going to be. But after that, it's sort of the carpet, the bed, the posters, the stuff on his desk. That's all me. Yeah.
Yeah. Percy's bedroom is one of my favorite rooms that you've decorated.
So
I mean, it's just,
Thank you.
It's been so fun to watch it evolve from season 1 to season 2. And then to see all of his hobbies throughout the room. You're really making a lot of character choices.
Yeah. Dan Schott's a showrunner. He usually lets me, figure it out and says, oh, great job. But he had a few points about Percy, especially season 2, to make sure he grew up a bit, And I have 3 kids, and I've seen them all be 15 at one point. And there's certain things you carry on when you're a kid that you just never leave, you never take it off your shelf. So there's things from when you're really little, and then probably in front of it is something that you got more recently and stuff like that. So yeah, and then season 2, the very first thing we did was cut a hole in the floor next to his bed and put a piece of plexiglass in there so that he could wake up from his dream about Grover.
Right.
And we'll have a shot of him landing on us. So yeah. Did you notice in season 2 the little quilt on his bed?
The quilt. No.
There's a little, I don't know if you could see it. I could probably send you guys a picture.
Yes, please.
There's a little quilt on his bed, like a little throw quilt. That quilt is made up of patches, including the shirt he wore all through season 1. Aww. and Sally's shirt.
Oh my God.
Remember he had a light green plaid.
Yes.
Shirt? So that's in that quilt.
That's beautiful.
On his bed.
That's...
You guys never caught that one.
No.
Well, I don't know if they filmed it that closely, so I put it in there. If they catch it, they catch it. And, I know that Walker probably noticed it, and, It's just a fun thing to do.
As soon as this is done, I am opening Disney Plus and watching that scene again.
Well, I hope they caught it. If not, I'll find I know I took some wide, after I dress a set, I always take a couple shots for myself before the film crew ruins it. So I know I have some shots of that quilt. So
can I ask, is that just sort of fun, just to have as a little bit for you as a piece of connection, or is in your mind this was something Sally made for Percy?
Oh yeah, no, I think it might have been something Sally made for sure. I don't think it just came from and it's a little bit of single mom has to sort of save, and she probably knows how to sew, right? She probably knows how to fix things, and it was one of those things where we're thinking about him in the second season, how does it relate to the previous season? And then I don't know how it came to me, but as soon as I thought of it, it's well, I got to do that.
Yeah.
And so I just actually found a local quilter, and I went to the wardrobe department, of course, they have many of those shirts, right?
Right.
So they just gave me some ones that I could cut up, and a Sally shirt as well, because she had a blue plaid shirt, I think, when she was in the Camaro, maybe. And then in season 2, you must have seen the little Post-it notes of him learning.
Oh, I was actually about to bring that up because that's what distracted me
from seeing the quilt.
Yeah, him learning ancient Greek, trying to understand a little more, you know, which was sort of, I thought it was a nice idea because he kind of struggles in school a little bit, and his dyslexia and stuff like that. That kids like that do everything they can to help themselves learn, and they do tricks like that. You know, like if it's a spelling thing or something, they'll Post-it notes around. I thought, well, isn't it interesting that he would apply sort of his studying methods to maybe learning more about himself and his recent experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, the mirror required a lot of work.
Right. Yeah. With all the photos.
Postcards, stuff like that.
That was actually, I was curious about, this is the silliest little detail.
Go.
The washi tape, because he has to like run his finger along it. Is that a prop now because he has to, with the photo?
Yeah, if they want it to be. I mean, I did it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good question. I guess if you know what it would be? It would be if he was putting it up to begin with and then taping it on, like if we saw that moment, yes. But if he's just interacting with something that I created there,
right?
And that was, I think the director was James Bobin on that one, and I think he probably said, no, just get in there and sort of think about it as you touch, you know,
right.
And then of course, you know, if you put a whole bunch of pictures, postcards on a mirror, and they're all stuck on the same way, then they all look like they got there at the same time. Use different tapes and stuff like that, then that's more like it evolved, right? Because he would have like from a trip to the museum or something like that, or a postcard from a friend. So those would come in at different times, and so he would have different tape at hand,
right?
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we the picture of Grover, Grover's doing a selfie or something like that. Dozens of those of different format, like different composition, you know, him on the right, him on the left, where should it be? And I remember like laying the mirror down in James's office on the floor, and we were like pushing stuff around and like taking pictures. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. And then finally we get it. So yeah, those sort of things are you can kind of tell in the script when they're important too, right? How you're going to linger on that. But you should always, as a decorator, I always try and make sure you could film anything really close if you wanted to. So
yeah, the detail that distracted me from the quilt was the amp on the floor.
Oh yeah,
because I noticed the amp and then was like studying the room, like what is it connected to? And I never saw something that it was connected to.
Yeah, and I think I had a bicycle wheel and and a skateboard, my son's skateboard decks, and that was the idea of him transitioning to being older, right? So he's going to try playing guitar, he's going to try fixing a bike. Certainly the dirty dishes, like that's
of course.
At a certain point, teenagers just bring all food into their room, right? Of course, we create, a bowl of cereal with milk in it. We use white glue because we don't want, gross milk in the hot lights and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, that was sort of one of those things early discussions is like, there's going to be a little more mess. There's going to be a little more chaos. He's bigger. His stuff is bigger. So he's kind of outgrowing his room a little bit in scale,
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the stuff's the same. I added a world poster, maybe a poster of the world.
Yeah.
So, him thinking bigger than Yancey Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that has changed, it suggests so much like curiosity for him, because there's like, the dinosaur poster, the space mobile, it's just the amount of like interests that he is investing in so much that he's putting up posters on his walls.
I had a model plane, like a Mustang or something like that. It was really cool, and I wanted to put it on the ceiling, and Dan Schatz, the showrunner's like, it's too big. I go, oh, come on. And then I put it up. He goes, nah, we can't do it. So then we put up the solar system mobile, which was kind of cool. So because I knew the shot of him landing on the floor right? What they were because they put in the plexiglass for him to land on when he wakes up from his dream. The very first thing in season 2, we were going to see the ceiling. So why have a boring ceiling when you can have something, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I could spend this entire hour just talking about Percy's bedroom.
Well, the other thing is, you wouldn't have seen it, but on the door jamb, like when you open the door, where the door closes, I have heights of him at different, because your mom would put the book on your head and mark how tall you are.
I did see that because there's a mark of Tyson on it too that's shown.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We put him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you build a new set on stage and then you paint it, the painters then go through the process of aging and dust aging and kind of making it look real. And you got to kind of put dings where luggage hits doorways, and they're very small, but collectively, if you do that really well, and painters are really good at this, you can make it a little more believable, like a little water stain in the wallpaper, or where things have been. I think the window out to the balcony, people had stepped out there quite a few times, so we had to make sure it was a little more like a threshold than a windowsill, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the part I think maybe of the craft overall I find the most interesting, is because you really have to sit and live in the world so much to do that.
Yeah. You can also train your eye to sort of, if you just take a moment and you sit down in a space, like a set that you're dressing, you can kind of look for the things that pop out you as not real or feeling awkward or don't feel like they've landed there properly, Yeah. And it doesn't take, even if you decorate the kitchen, like when she's making her pancakes, right? It still has to make sense for a mom cooking pancakes that she can reach this and she can reach that, and so that's all normal stuff that everybody could do, but you just have to think like it's a real space,
Right. Okay. To transition us, because we will spend all day here, to transition us into a very different personal space that we get to spend some time in season 2. Can we talk about the Admiralty Suite and what Luke's spaces look like?
Yeah.
Because what Luke's done with his space was very interesting to me, because it's sort of the first time he's gotten to claim a space really since his childhood. Yeah,
I mean, I would say it's less personal because it is the fancy suite in a cruise ship, but he did have is it Backbiter?
Yes.
On the wall? Yeah. And of course there's stunts in there. We want to feel big, right? Like with the tall windows.
Yeah.
And the big expanse and stuff like that. It actually was at one point going to have a staircase that went up to another level, but but we just went against it. But yeah, because of the fights in there and the whole sarcophagus thing, which we labored over, that we had to, the action sort of dictated a lot of the positioning of things.
Right.
But definitely the scale of it was super important, and everything to be sort of have this, even the huge couch had space around that. Like it wasn't up against a wall. It was, you could walk around behind it. And, and then we had a carpet that, what was it? It's like stars on the carpet or something like that. That was special that we brought in. And then in the entrance, there was some Greek armor.
Yes.
I don't know. We had sort of alcoves for that as well. But I guess it's his space, but it's not, he didn't make it his own because it is yet another room in a cruise ship,
Right. I think in my mind, the way that he has claimed it seems to be the art on the walls.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yes. The big one behind the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. We heard that one was original for the show. Yeah.
Actually, one of our art directors, Doug Higgins, who's about 80, I guess. Old, very talented art director, who also set design. So he'll draw, he drew the big house. So he can hand draw architectural drawings for the construction department to build, but he's also a beautiful illustrator. So he did that. He also built himself, Doug Higgins, the entire model of the racetrack.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
The big one that was on the... Yeah.
Which is stunning.
Yeah. He built that, which is pretty cool. Built it in 2 pieces, at his house, and then we brought it in and put it together. And, yeah, that was quite a drawing, painting. Sorry, in Luke's. Now I'm trying to remember. It was it's an allegory of something. You guys are challenging me now. It's been over a year. Okay, well I'll find out what it was. But there's specific things happening in there, specific battles that Dan Hannah asked for. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm so curious because we did spend a lot of time.
Okay, I'll find out that.
Yeah.
I'll find out that.
We actually had a kind of specific question about that painting too, just because since we knew from our set visit that it was original for the show, we were wondering what the line is and how the decision gets made of like when you're going to be using something original versus sourcing a painting.
Right. Yeah, I guess Dan made those Dan Hannah made those choices because do you remember in Yancey Academy when Percy's getting, I think, booted out, maybe?
Yeah.
There was the huge Washington crosses the Delaware behind. That was just licensed and we printed it and Dan wanted it huge. It was so big, that painting, that I had to have our guys build a special frame that folded in half so that we could actually fit it into the doorway to get it into that room and then open it up and then hang it. But yeah, he wanted it huge. And of course, the Hieronymus Bosch, the Garden of Earthly Delights. Yes, in Hades, exactly. Biggest thing I've ever had to print for sure,
Oh yeah.
And then the big gold frame around it.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so that one we had printed by a company that prints signs, and then the grips stretched it over a rock and roll truss, and then I had to do the frame. I had styrofoam architectural molding, so that's the stuff when the walls meet the ceiling. It's sort of like a detail that goes around. And I bought a bunch of that stuff and had it painted gold and then glued together. And then that was just stuck on the edge of the painting. It actually had nothing, the painting itself was hanging on the rock and roll truss. And then where the seams were because you couldn't get it more than 10 feet long and that thing was huge. I had sort of these medallions 3D printed that covered the corners and the seams. So it looked like a fancy frame, but it was really quite simple, but huge. It was 30 feet wide, maybe. And then in Hades, we had a huge carpet that we custom printed, but you didn't really see it. So I ended up using that again in the big house under the big dining table.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Because we never really saw it in season 1. And it's beautiful colors and all that sort of stuff. So.
Hades' space was so interesting to me because it's so small.
It's
just that little area that you have to work with.
And there was like a couch and 2 chairs and a lamp and the gold Sally, and it was one of those things where it's like everything, because there's so little of it, there's a lot of pressure on every piece in there to work, right?
Yeah.
You can't just load it like if you think of the attic, just cram stuff in there, and the stuff is not as great, you just push it back a little and put the good stuff in front. But when you have something sparse, the pressure on every piece is higher to be the right piece.
Right.
Yeah. What goes into the decision of picking the God of Death's couch?
Well, we look at a bunch. We look at a bunch of couches and go, that looks like the type of evil genius type of stuff. What was the other good couch I picked out? Was the one at the racetrack.
Right.
Or was it a chaise? Was it a chaise?
It was a chaise, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a chaise. But you basically you start by looking at a lot of couches, and you can sort of these ones are jumping out right now, and then that could be just pictures of couches. And then you got to see what you can actually get.
Right.
I guess we're kind of transitioning a little bit into talking about that interesting also divide between mythological world and human world too.
Yep.
That's something that's kind of really cool about Percy Jackson generally, is the fact that it's not like there's other pieces sort of are set just historically or just mythologically or fantasy, or in sort of our modern world. But this show has to marry those two, where they've been growing and changing with each other. Yeah, we were especially curious, in designing the more mythological spaces, how you found that balance and picking things, and what the sort of thought process there in approaching it was.
it's always, when you do the mythological spaces, it always helps with the illustrations that are created. You guys saw the illustrations on the walls,
Right.
and those are conversation starters, and those are the final illustrations. There's many that lead up to that, and so sometimes, and actually a few times on Percy, the illustrator was just down the hall, and I'd be showing Dan something that I thought would be really good, say, for the cave. And he says, "Oh, show that to Fernando," and I want him to draw it into the illustration so that, and actually, do you know the story about the
carriage?
The carriage?
Yes.
So do you know how that happened?
You told us while we were there, but please tell us again for the audience.
Okay, yeah, because that was a weird thing where it sort of came back at me, because I was looking, because the cave, obviously, Polyphemus's cave has got to have treasures from over time, what he considers treasure also, right?
Right.
Like, it's not just gold, it's like something that I took is now mine, that's now my treasure. Do you know what I mean? So that's why, like, there's a bellbuoy in there, like a navigational marker. It's got no value to anyone, but the fact that he took it, he feels like I'm owning things,
Right.
and that's the sort of, I wanted to make sure we had some of that stuff in there, right?
That's actually a very ancient Greek thing. There's this word kleos, which means glory, which is in season 1 actually in the script. But basically it's not just about glory of like glorious deeds. It's also like the stuff you take, the booty, the what you claim. That's part of your glory.
Yeah, exactly. It spoils, and it's a helmet, or it's a jug or something like that. I think I had a piano in there. Why would he want that? But he would want to take something to have, because now it's his and not someone else's. I guess. Anyhow, so I was looking for things to put in there and imagining like Polyphemus like hitting ocean liners and whatever's cargo ships or whatever's going by. And then I saw for sale this sort of replica royal carriage. And I thought, oh, that could be really cool, because it would be so odd in a cave. And you could imagine it was, on its way from England to somewhere else. And he grabbed it and then stuffed it full of other stuff. I thought maybe, there'd be other things in there. And I showed Dan, he goes, oh, that'd be perfect. And we'll just sort of, cover it with, other things. He had the same idea I did. So I got it, and then he said, "Oh, tell the illustrator, because I want him to put it in the illustration as we develop these illustrations." And so then it was in the illustration. So then for sure I had to make sure I bought this thing, right? It doesn't hold out from under me. And then I started reading, because I only had a treatment, then I started reading the new pages that came out, and it says Grover's hiding in a carriage. It's like, oh, what have I done? Actually worked Grover into a piece of set dressing that I suggested. So that never happens. But anyways, it was super fun. And it kind of started the scale of the cave too. Like if we're going to fit that in, I'm also going to have other items that are like nice and bulky and big, because you can't just put coins in little boxes and stuff. So
right.
But to answer your question about the mythological world and the real world, like the Grey Sisters taxi is basically the moment we hop into a taxi, which is real world, but then you get inside of it, and now we are crossing the threshold into the mythological world, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially as they come into the smoke and out of the smoke.
Yeah.
And so then things get to be more fanciful, over the top, like activity director's office, right? Where what is the activities director? Well, it's got to have all the stuff a normal activity director would have, like life jackets and clipboards and lists and confiscated items and all that sort of stuff. But then it's Camp Half-Blood, so it's all got to be like super fun and Greek and like over the top, and maybe some of it unsafe. Like these kids have spears, and they're able to practice battle and things like that. So just letting your mind sort of think about what kind of things kids would have access to at Camp Half-Blood, and then just going for it. So, and upping the colors, you really want the colors to sort of be a little more bold and exciting.
I think you feel that, especially. Circe's comes to mind immediately when you say that, like with the colors and just the vibrancy of the place.
Yeah. We got to explore her office, and it was so much fun just picking through what was on her desk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one of our last sets in season 2, I think. And it was, lots of plants. Did you see it with the animals in it?
No, I think the animals had just left the day before.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, smelly. But yeah, that was we were really concerned. Will the chinchilla not like the fact that there's a snake there? Will the parrot not like the fact that there's a hamster there? We were actually a little concerned of who could be in the room with who at the same time, but the Wranglers had all that figured out. But the details of that room, lots of fun. Yeah.
I also really wanted to ask about Medusa specifically, because she's a character where we don't get to see much of her in terms of screen time, but we do get to be in her sort of domain for a really long time. And I think when we were analyzing it, that was also a huge piece of our conversation of her character, was the space she's living in and what it says about her.
Well, I mean, it's a trap, right? She's kind of, the idea is that she's fooling people, fooling travelers, I guess, into thinking, this is, did she have hamburgers or cooking or something that somebody smelled, and it was we got to go towards that.
Yeah.
A whole table.
Yeah, exactly.
Too, as a feast.
Yeah, but then as they walk past her statues, they're supposed to sort of take a clue there. It's are you guys paying attention, what's going on out here? And then to get into her space and for it to be sort of ancient and Victorian and somewhat inviting, but a little bit creepy as well, And the fact that she wears that veil, that the room sort of has a veil on it too. It's not clear everything that's going on there, but it's certainly, the table's set for them, and they're hungry and they're tired, and why wouldn't they go in there, know? But to make it feel a little bit like a trap, I guess, was the idea.
Speaking of statues, I kind of want to bring us back to Circe's for a moment to ask about those 6 statues.
Yeah, the ones that made it.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, the ones that made it. The idea was that over time, very infrequently and almost randomly, people make it through.
Right.
And it's not necessarily because they're great heroes or, the biggest, strongest. And that's why we had sort of a random, not random, but throughout time, we had people represented there. I'm trying to remember, because I remember how we did it. We cast people, and then we had them in wardrobe, and then had them scanned, like a body scan, and then had that carved out of foam. Roughly carved with a CNC machine, and then had our sculptors look at the photograph of the person and sort of work it down. And
That's amazing.
We got my assistant decorator, Mike Keel, because there's a lot of statues in Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of Medusas.
Yeah, and starting with the Greek collection in season 1.
Oh yeah.
So he got really good at any statue manufacturing and the whole process and the painting and the sanding and where it is in the And then we got the monsters, and then we've got gold statues and yeah. So Mike got really good at that stuff. But at the end, it was man, you look at our lockup, and it was just filling with statues. This is a statue-heavy show.
Yeah. What's funny is when we were on set, there was a point where Emily went to the bathroom and then came back saying, there's a statue of a guy wearing sunglasses back there. And we had no idea what it was for, and then finally saw the context a year later.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and remember the statues in down in the pits? It was all fire and.
Oh, you mean under Medusas?
That's it. Yeah. But I forget what we called it. Anyways, we had a jogger, we had a mailman, we had, I think Rick Riordan was in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wasn't Zoe Neary in there?
Yeah, Zoe was in there. Zoe was in there for sure. I think she's holding a whole bunch of Tupperware or something like that.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah. So I mean that's the same thing as anybody could be sort of drifting into this world and get caught, and then yes, when they went down, that's right, from Medusa's they went downstairs, and then they went into that room. So that was on the volume in season 1 where we did that, because it went on forever, sort of thing. So
that was actually something Also, I was curious about with your role for the volume versus season 2, where you weren't using that, so it was all practical.
Yeah, so season 1 the volume was new to all of us, and it was pretty exciting. In my opinion, it worked a lot of the time, and sometimes we were just trying to use it when we probably shouldn't have, like outside the Met. When Percy's with the fountain,
right?
Do you remember that with Grover and the sandwich and the thing?
The hot dog carts.
Yeah, those were fun. That was really wow.
Well, as someone who grew up around New York, the 2 carts outside the Met are a very critical part of
they're
the
essential.
Absolutely, we went and got photographs of the real ones. I think they're run by a veteran, maybe. Got his permission to take pictures of it. And we didn't measure it though, but we kind of like took sort of guesses. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those were ubiquitous, right? Those hot dog carts. So we built those from scratch, and they were essential. So we did that on the volume, and because of geometry and the sort of the building and the street, and it was a lot of work to kind of make it believable, and which is fine. We made it work. I think in the end, it did look like it, but we're really. Maybe we're just learning, I guess, in those days. But it was just, like the way the cars went down the street, it kind of, that doesn't look, there's a transition there that we're having trouble with when you go from real to the wall of the volume. So we were sort of learning. But other things like the Tunnel of Love, where they're like perfect. Mm-hmm. That was just the volume, and they could create this sort of wonderful graphic, but also make it feel like they're going down curves, and of course anything with the forests or the fight with the fireworks behind, and of course anything like in a bus or a train is perfect, right?
Yeah,
because you can just shake the train and the world's going by, and so.
Do you find your role in that changing when you have to work in the volume, or no?
A little bit. I mean, what I have to do in the volume, like for example, the room full of all the crates, you build and paint all the crates, and then you make sure that the people running the volume can scan and photograph those, so they know what they've got to put. That their boxes are the same color, and and the statue. Like they want to look at all that, they call them assets. And get them all into their computer so that they can move things around themselves, And if we, for example, if we have a field of rocks, and then the rocks continue into the volume, they want to have access to those rocks a couple of weeks before, so that they can get them sort of digitized and understood, so that they can repeat them or grow them or multiply them or whatever, things like that. So I think in the end, and this is just my opinion, from coming from set decoration, is that after season 1, the volume is quite expensive, and with that in mind, I think there's a need for it not to be sitting still. Like if it's there and it has staff and it has a lot of equipment attached to it, so it should work as much as possible to pay for itself.
Right?
Because it just so I think we might have been feeding the machine a little bit in season 1, and it was useful, definitely useful, but I think in some cases it would have made more sense just to build like the Fields of Asphodel,
right?
That was on a normal stage with painted canvas backdrop. I think because the volume was busy, but that worked as well. Right, so you had all this scary, the tall people in the trees, and then and so the trees were real, and then we had painted trees on canvas, and because our painters are amazing, and it's old school, they could just do these huge canvases that hung from the stage, and it felt like an enormous forest. So that's the old way of doing it, which also works, but yeah, there's some things where the volume is just amazing.
Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of sets that we haven't touched on yet that I would love for you to guide us through with the time that we have left. But I would like to hand you the wheel. If there are any sets or details from this season or last that you're particularly proud of developing, or items you sourced besides the carriage that we should be looking out for.
Well, I love the ironclad.
Yes.
What I like is so strange, like we made the heavy anchor chain that was all over the deck out of foam.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I saw an article once of how someone made it, and we did it ourselves, and our painters did it, and put rust on it. And I know what heavy chain is like, and you can't move it, and it's loud. And anyways, we made a couple 100 feet of that fake stuff, and I was so proud of it. I just thought that's exactly what we wanted. That's what we planned on doing this, and it worked out perfectly. So it's one of those moments. And then getting the Bofors gun onto the bow of that boat. That was a big deal, working with special effects to have it at an angle and make it feel like it was at sea. So yeah, that was a fun set for sure, especially the dining area and the little galley. Yeah. That was fun, and the things swinging.
The cannons down below.
The engine room was quite involved, but you didn't see a lot of it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we had like 2 big boilers with all these gauges all over it, and one of the things you got to be careful as a set decorator is not getting too upset when you see the final show that they didn't shoot all your stuff because, it just happens. Like in my opinion, I thought the cave could have been lit a little brighter, but anyhow, that's somebody else's call because you couldn't really see everything. You gotta pause, I guess, to see it. But it doesn't matter because is when the director of photography and the actors go in there and they see it, then they feel they're in a real cave, and they feel, and then that's really what's important is that, and then what they do with that is really over to them, as long as I give them something that. So I really liked the ironclad. I like boats, and I took on just acquiring all the boats on this show. I decided to. So like I found the lifeboat for sale, and I acquired that and got that fixed up. Grover's boat, which you saw very little of, I had our carpenter build that one. I found a second lifeboat for the post-explosion, and the big boat that they sail away from, the big. Yeah, I bought that in Nova Scotia and had it trucked out across Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, that was that, and it leaked, but we were fixing it up, and it's fine. It's a big old wooden boat, beautiful wooden boat. I just showed Dan. Dan loves boats too, and he was like, "Do you think you can get that?" And I did the math, and it was like it was cheaper than building one for sure. So so I liked all the sort of like getting the boats together. We made the Rainbow Zodiac, and what else was a fun set for me? I mean, Cece's office. That was a really. And also, I would say a real decorator's set, right? Like with the lamp thing that I designed in the middle.
That was a cool lamp.
Yeah. Well, it's made up of other lamps, but I kind of made it into a cluster, and then we painted it a little bit to change the color, and it featured quite nicely from the end of the hall.
Right. And finding the right look for the mirror, knowing that plays such a big role.
Yes.
In the scene.
Yes, that was the Beaux-Arts style. We definitely concentrated on that one, and we built that special. And then of course you had to cover the mirror because it's always a mirror's great when you want to look at it, and when you don't, it kind of shows the whole camera crew. So
right,
move that around. And then what else we had? Oh, we had some spinning wheels in there and things like that.
The weaving, right? She was making
the weaving. Tapestry. Yep, exactly. Yeah, and then we built her desk. Her beautiful desk.
I have so many pictures of me at that desk.
That's cool desk and beautiful big chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chair behind her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you guys build all of that furniture?
Yeah, the chair I found, the desk we built, all the bird cages we found, and we adjusted. Like the hamster cage was like we ordered the cage, but then we embellished it quite a bit, of course. The special base and details around it, stuff like that.
Right.
It's a good set.
Can I ask one very specific question?
Yep.
Something I've been obsessing over for all of season 2, watching it, was the paintings and portraits decorating the walls of the big meeting space in the big house.
Oh, yeah. You mean the room with all the paintings?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had so it was random sort of landscape pictures in there. But then we had the odd Pegasus, like a horse with wings would be in there, like little Easter eggs and stuff, but nothing too specific. And then we had the previous directors.
Oh, is that what the men were?
Directors.
Yeah, the men, the five or six.
I kept trying to zoom in, but they were never in focus. So I'd just be like, "Who are these men?"
Yeah. Yeah, nobody. The actual pictures are nobody in particular, but story-wise, they're supposed to be previous camp directors or something. Yeah.
Okay, we got that, and we got that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we did the whole room in plaid wallpaper, and then Dan said he'd just fill it with pictures. We want lots of pictures, right, to make it. I think we referenced some other houses in England that had sort of things like that. And so we just sort of did a square footage calculation and, and then we just started acquiring frames. And then ultimately I was able to reuse a bunch of those frames to put the mirrors in that hung in the cave.
Right.
Hung in the cave during Grover's dream. Percy's dream?
Both of
Percy's
their dreams.
Both of their dreams. That's right. Yeah, both their dreams on top of each other with the wedding dress. Yeah. So we had 20 or 30 mirrors hanging in the cave. I could have shot that a little lighter, but anyhow. But they were there, hanging. And some of those picture frames I was able to reuse. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. I also quickly just want to shout out your work on the attic because
yeah,
that's a good set. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite piece in there, out of curiosity?
Oh, well, I guess maybe the Oracle's chair was kind of cool. But no, I mean, those sets, those sets are fun to do because we all know what a scary, dusty attic is, and so then because it's dark, you really start to think about silhouettes and shapes, right? Because you're not going to catch too much detail usually if they fill it full of atmosphere and smoke. So you really want to catch the shape of something against a lighter background, and so we think about that when we arrange it. But you also have got to create a set like that where people can actually like move around, right? Like if they want to lay dolly track down here, how hard is it going to be to move everything? So some of the tricks we'll do is we'll make a little like a furniture dolly, like a 4-wheel furniture dolly, but really low, like a board with 4 wheels, like a skateboard, like big square. And then we'll dress on top of that so that the whole island of dressing can sort of shift around a little bit. So it may be a pedestal with a bust and then a bird cage and then some swords, but the whole thing can move. It makes it a little easier for the shooting crew to actually function.
Right.
Because, they got to get their lights and their cables and all that stuff in there.
That's really
and of course, walls have to wild away. And
yeah.
The shooting crew hates rooms like that, actually. They hate big...
I mean, given the problems you just described, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I mean, they're just hard. Because you're going in and it's like you're on top of everything. And then, of course, if you establish it, you got to reset it and all that sort of stuff. But they film nicely,
Yeah.
I've done a couple scary attics in my career, so.
Yeah, I saw you worked on Cabin in the Woods, which excited me.
Yeah, there you go. Scary basement.
Yeah.
Same idea.
It's also such a fun, I mean, that must have been so fun. I don't want to get too off topic here because this is about Percy, but I mean, because it's in the story that like there's so many things they could pick up that will completely change the narrative. So that's right. That's just really fun to me.
Yeah, we really had to have all those things ready for that set. Yeah, same idea, like shapes and like what's around the corner and what's that random thing, and that was a fun one.
Okay, we are coming up on time. There is a question that's in my head that I do want to ask, but we can answer it very, very quickly if possible, because you just reminded me. You mentioned that the coffin was an ordeal in some way.
Yes. Yeah.
In what way?
Well. Well, I mean, it was first of all the design, to come up with the design in the end, right? Is it because I think at one point it might have been like one of the ideas that was clear, with sort of modeling in it, and then it was going to glow, and then of course there's action with this thing because it has to sort of fall,
right?
But obviously it's not stone, but it has to fall like it's stone. Right. Yeah. So that's a tricky thing to do, to make something light look heavy, especially if it's moving. And yeah, the positioning of it, and it was just one of those things where, is it how is the fleece going to stay on it? Is it going to slide off? And so we just had to think about that one a lot, and how it's positioned in the room, and
the tilt of it was interesting.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it wasn't just bring it into the room and set it up. It was like, we really got to think about how this is gonna go, especially because there's stunts involved and action, and if he's going around behind it, do we still see him? Does it have to be lower?
Right.
That sort of stuff. And then when it tips, how wide are we? Can we see the thing that makes it fall, or does that have to be hidden? So the special effects and stunts works with that, and then of course, the paint department is always doing final touches on the gold, the streaks in it and stuff like that, which we wanted to sort of glow. And
I do like that effect.
Yeah. There's a lot of discussion about that. Yeah.
I had assumed that it was a prop because it has to be handled so much.
Well, no, it's sort of an art department build. I guess you would say it's a construction build prop. Yeah, I guess. No, I don't. I think it was. It's a good point. But no, I would think, well, certainly the fleece, right? The fleece, but because the kids don't actually pick up the whole thing, like if they had to walk down the hallway with it, definitely Dean and Michelle would have been involved. But yeah. So yeah, I must say that with props, I always try and have like a good read through of the script with them, just page by page, like just. And as we're reading, they go, yeah, we're going to do this. And I said, well, I can bring this, or we'll come up with an idea in the middle of that, or we'll come up with a question that neither of us has the answer to, and we'll have to go ask the writers or the director or something like that. So we make sure that we cover everything. So, because what you don't want to do is assume that the other person has got it,
right?
Oh yeah, I thought that was dressing. I thought that was prop, and it was like, it was kind of gray, And also, you don't want to both build the same thing, so you got to keep talking. So, but yeah, we never missed anything with those guys, and yeah, we got it done.
Right, and it was beautiful. I love that coffin.
The coffin is very important to us. Actually.
The coffin, we're big Luke fans,
oh, really?
And the coffin is very important.
Okay. Well, you guys know this story way more than I do. You know the ins and outs of it, and I'm just trying to make sure I keep up to what's been written. So I'm glad we were able to satisfy some of what you wanted.
I can already imagine the future scenes that will be happening with that coffin.
Wait, did you plan for it to open already?
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's
right. Okay.
we didn't build a solid block, if that's what you're saying.
Sorry, that just occurred to me, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
We were being so annoying because we found the coffin lying out while we were with Charlie, and we were being so annoying, being like, "Do you fit in that?"
It was just next to the set.
Yeah, it was. So they were taking us over to the Princess Andromeda, and then I think I saw it first because we were just sitting in front of it, and I was like, "Wait, hold on!" And I think Kira, who was guiding us, was sort of a little like, "Why are they just?"
Why are they so excited about this?
Like, the set's right there. Why are they all stopping here?
Yeah. That was now I'm remembering because as we get near the end of production, we're filming all the things that we're missing, right? So it was kind of scattered, right? Like we have insert shots over here, and we have a half a taxi over there because we still owe this shot. And you're kind of trying to get all the bits and pieces that the editors are requesting. So it gets a little busy near the end there, but.
All right, we are at our hour. So our final question for you, it's the question that we ask at the end of every single episode of this podcast. If you were to design a bead inspired by your experience on either the whole show or just season 2, what would you put on it?
Season 2, I'd put boats.
Right, all of the boats.
I put a boat. Yeah. Everything from tiny little rainbow zodiacs to the ironclad to the Princess Andromeda, the pool deck, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, to me it was. I mean, there was a lot of boats for me, and I really liked that. So, I would say that would be the bead I make. Did you guys ever get into Hermes' cabin?
Oh yes. I found the Iliad. I found it.
Right.
Okay. Good. Yeah, because we put a lot of details onto the bunk beds.
Yeah. We spent so long just like looking in each bunk and seeing what each kid sort of like personalized as their space.
Yeah, my dressers had a great time doing that. So, super fun.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us, Hamish. This has been really, really
You're very
lovely.
welcome. You're very welcome, guys. I'm glad to talk about it. Very proud of it.
Good. You should be. You absolutely should be. We love it so, so much. You've brought this world
that's great.
that we've like loved for 20 years to life in such an incredible way. So thank you.
There you go. Well, it's continuing. I know that. So.
Yeah. Season 3 coming soon.
Monster Donut. It was so nice to connect with Hamish again and hear so much more cool detail about what went into season 2.
Yeah, thank you again, Hamish, for joining us.
Yeah, this was a delight. We also have up on Patreon if you want to listen to us right after seeing everything and talking to Hamish, our episode about our Vancouver set visit that we recorded in the hotel room immediately after. In addition to a whole bunch of other bonus content.
Yeah, I think by the time this episode comes out, we'll have our predictions based on the new book announcement up.
Yeah. We're also starting to put together some other Patreon-exclusive content for y'all, so stay tuned. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us about our wrap-up episodes, submit thoughts, feeling, analysis, if you notice something in the set decorating that we didn't talk about on the podcast or that you wish we'd asked Hamish about, please let us know. You can reach out to us through our website or through email at monsterdonutpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at PJOPod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. If you're also interested in merch or anything else, you can find all of that in our link tree that's linked on all of our social media. And a big thank you to everybody who leaves comments or supports us in any way you can. That makes interviews like this possible. We love you guys. We love our little analytical community here. And it's just been a joy to dive into this season of the show. To that end, thank you to our patrons.
Latino Kaya, Patty VCK, Bethany from Public Works, Sydney Fox, Reina Avila Ramirez Arellano, Bronte Lebo, Ethan Not Nakamura, Kels, Mason Bowman, Casey Cassidy, Natalia, Melissa Rounds, Sasha, Alana, Pamela Ion, The Kid on Her Own, Kaylee, Mana Munshin, Calamity, Eddie Burns, Sarah Brown, Theseus, May, Anna, Christina, Bad Luck, B, Baster, James Alexander, Kari, Bella Rose, Aquilifer, Period, and Cedric. I said period like that because their name is literally just the punctuation mark. Thank you all for being with us. So much more to come, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Drivers who switch to Progressive could save hundreds just by bundling home and auto insurance, because you can't go wrong saving money. Unless you spend it on a guitar and never learn to play it, but lie and say that you did. Then someone hands you a guitar at a party and asks you to play, so you decide to improvise this.
Well, don't you know that but that's not it. Dreams are fun and also good.
Yep, you can't go wrong bundling and saving money with Progressive. Well, depends on how you spend it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Do you keep hearing podcast ads, like this one, for example, but always wonder how you actually get involved with them for your own brand or organization? Well, it's easier than you think. We're Acast, and we give you the platform to do it all yourself. Browse thousands of popular podcasts, choose the shows that match your perfect audience, set your budget, and launch. And if you want a hand, our podcast specialists are there to help you launch with confidence. This is podcast advertising without barriers. Get started at acast.com/advertise.